Tariq Bonner, Yadra Clark, Devontae Harris, Khalil Hanson, Granville Salmon, Akivia Bird, Akeelia Wilson, Trinelia Jugdis. People are playing their games. People are about to win. Come on in. Come on in the room. Let's see what the next performance will be. I'm inviting everybody to come take a seat. I have a giveaway. I have a giveaway. I have a giveaway. And my deaf community can also give me the response, right? I want to find out. Floyd, yep, I know him. We used to work together. All right, I want to find out the name of the parish that is now the wettest parish in Jamaica. You have to come to me because where the most rain is now falling. Which parish is now the parish that has the most rain? He gave the answer. What's the answer? Hanover, bring him on stage. Come, what was the answer? Bring on my Hanover friend over there. Come on, come on. We're gonna bring Floyd on stage. Floyd has a gift for you. Floyd, come on up. Come on up. Floyd, tell us about your gift before you hand it over.
All right, Brooklyn. This is the Let's STEM Together resource notebook for CSEC chemistry. And with this notebook, it shows about climate change. The only notebook in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, that speaks to climate change, and it's a resource with AI components. Now, we are promoting sustainability and climate change, and you have the opportunity to have this book, Miss.
So you're presenting to her. Do it nice and official so you get your picture, man. All right. First book presented. Next one for my friend from the deaf community. Hanover is the parish that now has the most rainfall. Thank you so much, Floyd. And you can visit his booth around the back. We're going to give away 2 more later on. We're going to give away the others later on. Thank you. All right, so at this time, you kept hearing me talking about Sparks. Don't anybody know Sparks? Anybody know Sparks? You know Sparks? What she look like? She brown. And her hair, that look like her hair wild, yeah? She what? She vibesy, yeah? So guess what? She's in the house. So at this time, I'm gonna call on stage to join me. And we're going to vibes up the place for the rest of the day. Welcome, please make welcome, ZJ Sparks. ZJ Sparks.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hold on, level DJ. Turn down the sound there. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everybody. Jesus. When the schools never make champs, good morning. Good morning. Oh, sign language. Oh, my bad. How do you sign and say good morning? This way? Good morning. Okay. All right. So let's continue with the show this morning. Welcome to the Expo. Lots of edutainment for you this morning. And I have here with me, you know, it's a Jamaica entertainment capital already. Anything with culture, Jamaica in it. So right now I want you to welcome a very talented choir from Central High School to the stage. Give them a big round of applause. Welcome, Central High. I want to sum in with the applause. I want to make like more nice. Yeah. All right. Are y'all wired? They gotta get their mics? Okay. You want this microphone?
in our lungs. So we pour out our praise, we pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise to you, holy. We pour it out to you, Lord. You give life, Lord, Lord, you bring light to the darkness. You give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise. We're pouring out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise to you, holy.
Not me. Yeah, one.
10 step ahead of them, 10 step back. Tell them we are Clarendon Federal. We are 5 more spiritual. Yeah. Welcome Central and General.
Stepping on the war, make a entry. Winning, we winning. Central, make a century.
Stay focused, we have the better energy. Better than a clear parents and plenty. Free man in the city. Team man in the city. Team man integrity. Team man iniquity. Stepping on the wire, but to be with it, they gonna sprinkle. I love it, me, that I want to see us. Then cry on the seat, but still I see I am a guide and a shield.
Them a free man in the city. Get this find out them a demon in the city. When it all boil down to the deep and integrity see clear. Them mix up in a iniquity.
Over evil, fight for me heart. Babylon straight when the Gideon start. Man a warrior, boy. Tell them man a warrior, boy. Put the armor, sword in the hand. Ready to go chant down that the Babylon. Man a warrior, boy. Tell them man a warrior, boy. Real warrior. Give me the remedy, the fire me go burn. I
Mic check, mic check. All right. Let me hear it for Central High people. The performance, they no match the clap there, you know. The clap didn't sound right. Let me hear it again for Central High. Thank you, Central High. I guess those are some of your songs from that All Together Sing. Am I right? Yes? All Together Sing. Their entrance in that competition. All right, now I did a little false start earlier and introduced Randy Mack, yeah? So, because I never do the right thing, him never come. But I'm going to do the right thing now. And this time, we're going to bring him on stage. All right, so here we go again. Randy Mack, formerly McLaren, is a Jamaican performance poet, creative artist, and entrepreneur who uses story, culture, and enterprise to inspire people and communities to live purposeful and prepared lives. Raised in Gardafield, St. Thomas, and later Rockfort in East Kingston, his journey from rural Jamaica to national and international stages has been shaped by resilience, faith, and a deep commitment to people. He is the co-founder and CEO of Brescia. I did ask you already if you don't know what a Brescia is, and some people know. Yeah? Brescia bag. He's the co-founder and CEO of Brescia, a purpose-driven brand rooted in craftsmanship, community, and Caribbean identity, and his work across business and the arts continues to bridge storytelling with social impact. As a performance poet, Randy blends the spoken word, dub poetry, and theater to bring rhythm, embodiment, and cultural truth together to give language to moments that often go unspoken. He also coined the concept of creative activism to describe the use of art, storytelling, and creative expression as tools for awareness, engagement, and meaningful social change. Today, he brings not just a performance, but a perspective. Because in times of crisis, stories are not written from the sidelines. They are lived on the front line. What you are about to hear is not just a poem. It is a letter written from the perspective of one of the many first responders who stood in the wake of Hurricane Melissa. A letter entitled, Dear Jamaica, from the front line. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together to welcome on stage Randy Mack, Mr. Brescia. People, make him feel welcome, make him feel welcome.
For a second, please.
Testing. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, as the introduction said, today I'll be sharing a letter with all of us, a perspective from the front line. So, here goes. Dear Jamaica, I am writing from the front line with mud still on my boots and tears still fresh on my face. I have seen things that shake my soul. Things that make big man bawl and little pitney brave. But I'm still standing. Still trying to save pieces of the place that built me. When Melissa came, she never knocked. She used her category 5 strength and kicked down every door between heaven and Hanover. roll through Manchester without mercy, tear through Clarendon, St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland, leaving us drenched in disbelief. Oh yes, I've seen it, Jamaica. I've seen mothers calling for children through flood water. I've seen fathers gripping feet tighter than zinc. I've seen board house and concrete mansion flattened. I've seen people crying for light while others whisper, give thanks, at least I have life. Then it dawned on me that in the dark, we found what really shines: connection, compassion, community. Dear Jamaica, you're my heart still beating, my soul still singing, my light still leading through storm and struggle, flood and rubble. Dear Jamaica, my love still arise and double. Reporters came from everywhere, far and near, wanting to hear. So, what are you seeing on the ground? Well, I'm seeing hope dig itself out of mud. I'm seeing neighbors become first responders. I'm seeing people bend like Holland bamboo, and this time some of them break under the dead weight of 45 and maybe more. I'm seeing airplanes descend like unanswered prayers. I mean, plane after plane after plane. Relief packages trapped like blessings. Diaspora hands reaching across oceans. I'm seeing soldiers clearing roads. People cooking for strangers. Youth charging phones for elders. And I'm seeing the truth, my friends. Climate change isn't coming, it's here. We small islands are not just victims, we are the front line of the fight. We are the front line with sea levels rising faster than promises, and still we're singing, still we're showing the world that resilience has a Caribbean accent, a Jamaican accent. So dear Jamaica, let's not waste this watershed moment. Use it, learn from it. Let the flood remind us to build smarter. Let the darkness remind us to care deeper. Because rebuilding is not just brick upon brick, it's mind and meaning. We must build shelters for the soul the same way we build them for the body. Let this storm be our teacher. And if we listen, we might just graduate into greatness. I'm just one responder. But I've seen the spirit of 1,000. When the roof collapsed, we never run, we reached. When the road split, we never stopped, we bridged. When the water rose, we didn't drown, we learned to swim in purpose. Now, Jamaica, rebuild your house, yes, but rebuild with hope. Fortify your mind the way we fortify the coast. Teach your children not just how to survive, but how to adapt, how to care, how to lead, because this foundation must be built for the next generation, and it must be built with more than concrete. It must be consciousness. So dear Jamaica, you are not the storm that hit you. You are the calm that rebuilds you. You are proof that the smallest island can teach the biggest world what resilience truly looks like, smells like, sounds like. So from the front line, from the mud, from the miracle of still standing, I write this letter to say, we are alive, we are learning, we are rising together. Dear Jamaica, I love you forever. Yours truly, Randy Mack.
Woo! Can we have a bigger round of applause for that boy, Randy Mack? Yes! All right, so before we go on, for all of you who won meal vouchers before, you can now collect your meal vouchers. All right, got to big up our sponsors, JPS, Sharon Go, Juicy, Saddle Energy, Carib Cement, Restaurants of Jamaica, and Tower Farms. Before I introduce the next panel, I feel like do a little giveaway. Anybody feel like win anything? Anybody feel lucky today? Well, the child don't feel lucky today? A lie. All right, so I'm going to ask a very easy question. And the question is, in what year was the JPS Foundation first established? On a stage show, when I can't stay down there and ball out the answer. You have to come on the stage. In what year was the JPS Foundation first established? Come run, make them see you. I can't see you represent. And what you do with the little purple towel in your waist? I can't see you represent. Okay. All right. First of all, what is your name?
My name is Sashania Hamilton.
All right, Miss Hamilton. And which school are you representing?
The Edwin Allen High School.
Wow! All right. So, in what year? Tell me the answer.
2012.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, miss.
Are you sure?
100%.
Lady from Immaculate, I look like, what? Are you sure about that? You're sure, no? You know what changed the year?
No, miss.
You are correct. Give her a big round of applause. Edwin Allen stays winning. Congratulations. Big up yourself. Where's the cameraman? Catch her load, you know. Make Edwin Allen blow down proud, you know. All right. So our next panel and the very first panel, it's all about feeding the future. Policy preparedness and community resilience. And I welcome on stage your host, Paula Ann Porter Jones. Give her a big round of applause for me.
Keep it going for ZJ Sparks. All right, so as we're getting into panel discussion one, the discussion starts with you and your thoughts and your experiences. And I have a couple of questions for you. How many of you thought your household was properly prepared for Hurricane Melissa? You stocked up right, you had enough food, you had the things that you needed. Hold up your hands for me, please. If you thought your household, your home was properly, those of you standing, I want to see as well. Who was ready? Had enough food? Things were, yes, even though we didn't know what the storm would bring. So when we're talking about now after Melissa, how many of you are impacted because something you like to eat or you normally have, you can't get, or you can't get enough of? Hands up, let me see. Hands. There we go. So our discussion today, which is about feeding the future, really directly impacts you and me. It's not something abstract. It is about what we are doing now, how we can be better at being stronger so that we can overcome quickly those effects of hurricanes and droughts and the rising food prices as a result of these things. I know that now for the farmers and vendors, we're having problems. You're having a lot of one thing. You're having the gluts and oversupply. And then anybody know how much for ripe bananas? When was the last time you checked on the price of ripe bananas? Somebody paid $2,000 for a dozen yesterday and paid $700 for 7 green bananas the day before. So food security is important, and it's dependent on the systems that we use. Today in our panel, we are going to explore what it takes to keep all of those systems working. We're going to look at the role of policy, preparedness, and community resilience in making sure that Jamaica can feed herself, even under all of this pressure. So I want to introduce our panelists for today's discussion, this first discussion. Let me see if I can pull to the particular guests that we have. And they're going to be having the conversation here. My job is really just to make sure that you are a part of it, that we use terms and phrases that you understand, that we allow for experiences that you can identify with,
so that you can come up with the ideas, that's what we're here about today, to help Jamaica move forward, because of course you are the future. So help me now welcome our panelists as I introduce them. The first panelist is from the CB Group. He is a leader in Jamaica's agricultural sector, and he currently oversees poultry production at the CB Group, work that directly impacts how the food gets on your table every day. Today, where we're talking about resilience, his perspective reminds us that food security is an important part of that resilience conversation, because in any crisis, the question is not just about the power of infrastructure, but it's also about whether or not you can access the food. So as you listen, you're going to think about the choices we make today and how those choices help to build systems that are stronger, more reliable, and better prepared for the future. And you will help me welcome the gentleman, Tony Blair. A round of applause, please. Our next panelist is from Food for the Poor, and she's Kivette Silvera. Round of applause for her, please. She's the country director for Food for the Poor Jamaica, and Food for the Poor works directly with communities, and especially in times of crisis, to provide support, relief, and recovery, as you should know. And her work connects deeply to our focus today on disaster preparedness and resilience, because she sees firsthand what happens when our systems are tested and what it takes to help communities to rebuild. So she's going to remind us, from her perspective, that resilience is not just about the infrastructure, but it's about me and you, the people, and the communities, and how we respond. So as you listen to her, I want you to think about the role that you can play in strengthening not just the systems, but also the people and communities. Our third panelist is from Artel. Welcome, Tracy Ann Hyman. She's the CEO and founder of Artel, and that's a company that uses technology and artificial intelligence to help us prepare for disasters. And her work connects directly to the future of resilience. So she is now helping us to see how innovation and technology can help us to make smarter, better decisions in times of crisis. And she's even lived through a major earthquake in Japan, apparently. So we can learn from her stories and how it has shaped her approach to preparedness. So as she speaks, I want you students to listen to how new ideas and technology and your own creativity and ideas can become part of the solutions that we need moving forward. Okay, one more time, a round of applause. This time it is for all of our panelists. I'm going to join them over here. Thank you. All right. Check. So we're going to start with something simple. We're using the term food security. We've heard it all over the place. From your perspective and experience where you work, what exactly is food security? We'll start with you, Mr. Blair.
So for me, food security is quite simple. It is to ensure that every single Jamaican, irrespective of your socio-economic background, in my mind, you should be able to have 3 balanced meals per day, and you shouldn't have to worry about what you're going to eat for the days to come. That's what food security means to me, making sure that the nation have food.
I think that works very well.
Okay, so for me, food security starts with affordability, and it also covers access. When you think about it, if you are not able to actively and quickly make a decision on, do I buy food today, or do I feed my children, or do I buy food today, or do I buy medication? So for me, food security deals with affordability, access, and most importantly, the quality of what we eat. Thank you.
Madam Hyman?
For me, food security relates, as she said, to access, being able to even simply go to the supermarket, go into your public markets, even your local farmers market to access food. Another important thing is affordability, availability, of the products. There should be limited restriction, all right? Or there should be limited restriction. It should be available, open, and it should be stable. It should be something whereby you know that you're able to access food right through, whether it's 7 days for the week, and not just, okay, for certain days, 2 days of the week, the food is available, other days it's not, hence creating instability. So it needs to be accessible, it needs to be stable, and the other one and then affordable for food security.
So we're removing the uncertainty when it comes around to the meals. Accessible,
yes,
stable, and
affordable.
Affordable.
Yes.
So in our Jamaican context now, and I'm going to ask you to give a real situation to clarify, what does it look like when that food security breaks down? We can start with you.
Well, let's start with a recent example. Everybody know about Hurricane Melissa. I mean, last year, I remember, we can even start getting practical, Scotch bonnet pepper, the unavailable of, I mean, it went to $5,000 per pound. How many of us remember that? Well, I think it ranged anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000. Tomatoes, even now, I still can't get plantains because Melissa hit down those plantains, and so we have to be waiting. So that is a major example right here to us in terms of being able to access, it being available, and it hindering us from partaking in those crops, items that we are used to as a culture.
And I know that Hurricane Melissa is in recent memory, but at Food for the Poor, you have had other experiences where, because of the climatic challenges, etc., we've had food security breaking down.
Well, at Food for the Poor, one of the things we started out, as you say, our name says food, while we're a lot more than food. However, we see on a daily basis families that are not able to feed themselves. We see on a daily basis children who go to school without a meal. So, and it's not that the meal isn't there, they just cannot afford it. Because the cost of a lunch in high school is probably $1,000, right? And the parents are not earning adequate amount to provide that $1,000 per meal, especially if they have 3 and 4 children. So it is, how do we, as a society, help to bridge that gap? How do we make a difference or make an impact to make food available? And it is not just a community thing, it's an individual thing. How do I help my neighbor? How, if I have a pound of rice or a pound of flour or some yam and tomato, can I share with my neighbor? If I'm at school and my fellow classmate does not have lunch, can I share my lunch with my fellow classmate? That is what it means. As simple as it is, that will make a big difference with you helping your friend, helping your fellow schoolmate to learn, because without food, they're not able to think properly and clearly.
Absolutely. No academic performance works well without the fuel behind it. You're coming from the CB Chicken perspective, where you are an integral part of that food security. When it breaks down, what do you see?
Well, when you have disasters like Melissa or Beryl, it impacts the poultry industry in a major way. Poultry, we consider it to be a perishable product. So once you have these hurricanes, you're going to lose your production. And what that does, it creates a shortage of protein in the marketplace that is quite vital to ensure that our people are eating in a balanced way. Chicken is perhaps the cheapest protein, so we want to always have it. And we could see that impact in St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland. But fortunately for us, the industry has rebounded, and I think we are now on a good trajectory.
I want to jump some more into that, because we need to be able to understand what it looks like for you, the producer of this protein, when Beryl or Melissa disrupts, because you are now needing to maintain production, still support the farmers, still ensure food reaches the communities. So what kind of changes, what are you seeing in the company?
So typically, when it comes to a hurricane or natural disasters, what is typically affected is the supply chain. So you might have an impact in terms of grains, soya, these are ingredients that goes into the formulation and into the production of feed, breads, and many other products. So what companies like ours do is that we ensure that we invest in infrastructure, storage facilities. We ensure that we have at least 3 months worth of inventory in some cases. Because for chicken, for example, is a frozen product, so you can keep it if you have good storage for a while. So we will always ensure that we have some buffer to make sure that we have some time to respond.
Okay. We're hearing about the systems that you have put in place in your business. Ladies, can you help me? From a national perspective, what is it, and discussing systems, what is it that we're not doing that makes so many of our systems vulnerable? Where are the big risks that Jamaica is facing?
Okay, so we do have the opportunity to create policies. We do have the opportunity to speak about it. But how many opportunities are there that we're not capitalizing on? For example, we're now at this wonderful expo put on by JPS Foundation. This is a great opportunity to engage our youngsters. This is a great opportunity to enlighten them, to give them that knowledge, because without knowledge, you can't make the right decisions. So as a country, outside of the policies, because the policies are important, but you can have a policy and nobody knows about it. So it is, how do we inform, even as young as these wonderful students are here, how do you get them engaged? How do you get them participating in this sharing of knowledge? Social media has taken over. How do we get the social media platform to be buzzing with some of the activities that we need to do to truly make a difference?
So our communication systems in large part. Okay.
Correct.
I want to bring some background. I mean, I want to first of all big up, we have over 200,000 farmers across Jamaica. So I want to big them up because, yes, we need them. But they face certain challenges. Challenges in terms of even getting crop insurance. I mean, it's very limited. There are issues related to bad roads in terms of carrying their produce to the markets. And especially when you have now the hurricanes and the different things that will come and block the roads, it creates issues to getting their products to market. Most of our farmers, however, are small farmers, all right? And so we're talking about what? On average, 2 acres per farmer. So that's small whole farmers. So whenever there is a hurricane, it causes major damage to them. Mark you, our bread basket, which is St. Elizabeth, we do have a large-scale commercial farming. And then we saw what happened with Melissa in terms of the bread basket, St. Elizabeth being affected among others in the West. So what does that state? I remember I heard one of the ministers, I can't remember, speaking to the fact that the West got damaged, so the East needs to step up. We have always spoken a lot about having farming zones across Jamaica, but this has not fully occurred where you know, okay, well, we know that Trelawney is known for yams, okay? But having it right across, it shouldn't be when Melissa strike, now we're saying the East must step up. The East and the West should have been going on so that even when the West got hit, the East. But then we are forced now to do this in terms of creating our farming zones in the East. And so that's going to impact the policies that need to go forward in terms of, okay, maybe we should zoom in on certain crops. I saw recently at the Bodle station that they are focusing now on 5 crops that they want by 2035. They have assigned 4,000 acres. And they want mango, ackee, and I think a couple of others that they want to focus on those 4,000 acres. These are some of the things that policy would have to be done in terms of to create that food security for us as a nation.
So we're talking about communication, we're talking about policy, and these are all government heavy.
Yes.
I want to throw a question to you students. How many of you saw community support during the whole process coming out of Melissa? Raise your hand if you saw persons in communities helping each other and helping to move beyond the gaps created now because government was in a tizzy. What role is there? What room is there for the community to step in this situation? You are dealing directly with farmers as well, Sir Blair. What?
Well, I'd say to you that the government from RADA, I believe that we need to have a very good extension service because it begins with knowledge. It begins with farmers understanding, for example, how to use various post-harvest technologies into making sure that they extend the shelf life of the product that they produce, so that during glut, you can actually process some of it and then you can leave that to supply yourselves at a later date. It doesn't have to be very sophisticated methods that you have to use a factory to do it. These are some of the things that we need to ensure that our farmers understand, and we need to ensure that some of these things are taught into the technical schools, because that will help each and everyone to understand how to extend the shelf life on certain products. And that's
Good points, good points. We are still in the space of government guiding. And ladies, can you help us take it into
community? Okay,
Yes.
so from a community standpoint, I'll use a live scenario where there's a young farmer that Food for the Poor assisted in 2024 with about 8 pigs. From that 8 pigs, she was able to expand and now have 25. But she didn't just hold on to that 25. What she did, she provided weaners to other community members within her community. And then by extension, they are now able to have their own farms. So the community engagement is about one person in that example, one person, Carrie Ann, helping her neighbors so that they can also become small farmers. So that's how the community engagement is critical, because no man is an island. You can't sit in your corner and expect to solve all the problems. You have to work together, right? By yourself, you can do so much, but together you do a lot more.
I'm also seeing a lot of local farmer markets popping up all over the place. How many persons have seen that? I see a lot of that. Support your local farmer markets that are popping up. Support the farmers. The farmers need our support. We hear this term often, backyard planting. Now some of them are going to say rooftop planting or balcony planting. We need to start little things, spinach, little scallion, little pepper, little tomato, cucumber, right? These are the ways that we can also support our community and support each other. So because, for example, what reached me enough time, sometimes the supermarket closed and you need a little, how many person may a little pepper, a little scallion. If your neighbor growing them on the balcony, you can say, beg you little scallion. You understand? So we need to adopt those type of things and support, and we all need to become, should I say part-time farmers? Maybe part-time farmers.
You listed almost all the things in my backyard a while ago. I just don't have the cucumbers yet. And interestingly, right now, there is a farmer's market happening at Radio Jamaica. And after this, I think tomorrow, the ministry is having a farmer's market in Kingston as well. So you are right about that direction as a way that we can seize more opportunities to assist the communities coming in, the farmers themselves selling. So the question though, at the end of the day, who is responsible for making sure that the people have the food? We can all play a part, but as the phrase goes, the buck stops somewhere. Who is responsible? Is it the government, the farmers? Is it CB Chicken and other private companies that have set up these systems?
I would answer it by saying that everyone is responsible, but I'd say to you, it begins with the government. And as my colleague said earlier on, it begins with us having good policies in place. It begins with us having decent roads in place. It also begins with us having certain infrastructure. For example, chill storage rooms. I mean, in some countries, the government invests in these facilities. Then it also begins with private companies, because they're the ones who most times control the supply chain. They have to make sure that they have long-term contracts with their suppliers of raw ingredients, so that no matter what, even in a disaster, although there's a demand in the international market, they will continue to get their supplies. And then it also goes now to the farmers, who are going to make sure that in terms of how they practice agriculture, it is done in a sustainable way. You cannot grow chickens, for example, in a substandard building. It doesn't have to be extremely sophisticated, but at least it should be built in such a way that it can withstand at least some level of wind. And the same with farmers who are in crop agriculture. The drainage should be ideal to make sure that water can run away without taking away the crops. So we have to relook at the way how we do things.
And we have some steps in that direction. I think the minister last year announced the cold storage facility, was it in St. Elizabeth, that we're moving in that direction. What are your thoughts?
I agree with my colleague Tony, because what we recognize is we have to do things differently. It's not like back in the days where you farm and then if the tomato spoils, that's it. We have to find a way to secure those crops, because believe it or not, at least 30% of the production that a farmer does, by the time it gets to the people for feeding, that crop would have been lost. So it is how do we reduce that percentage to ensure that we have more of what we need to make it more sustainable.
Got you.
I want to kind of flip the coin a bit and say, because we're used to saying that government is mainly responsible, and there's a place for that. I would like to now flip it to us as the people who are consuming, as the consumers, as the people in the nation, that we need to take responsibility for our food. We are seeing the challenges. We're seeing even I believe in Ukraine, Russia, that side, corn, I think a certain amount of corn and wheat comes from that area. And so when these wars occur, it impacts us here in different ways. We're going to have to find creative solutions to deal with this. I remember I was having discussions with my colleagues. What if our borders could not take certain products anymore? Let us say, well, French fries. I'm going to use French fries. How many of us would be willing to give up the French fries for yam fries? And we found it so hilarious. But I visited Ghana last year, and I saw them serving yam fries with burgers. So, you understand? So we're going to have to take responsibility. We're going to have to turn and make fashion in the kitchen. We're going to have to find other ways, because there could be issues with food supplies. So we need to be responsible for the food. I flipped it in that way.
I like that, and that takes the perspective that the individual at the end of the day needs to come up with their own effort and own solutions. But what's the role of the private sector in all of this, especially when food supply chains are disrupted? What is the role of the private sector? And you are in that private sector. What is your role?
Don't put me on the spot. I want Tony to answer that private sector question.
I've been harassing Tony. You start.
We need to, as a private sector, I mean, from the perspective of the food supply, I'm not going to go into technology yet, provide, would you say, the food, I wouldn't want to say, no, food that is nutritious, maybe not, but we need to be open, transparent with what we are producing and putting on the market. And that's why it's important for the labels and for us to know what really is in the things that we are eating. If there are certain hormones, certain things in there, we need to put out that information. We also need to try to source more nutritious products in addition to, yes, you're going to have the variety, but we need to become more responsible as a private sector while still making a profit. Yes, because we need to make a profit. But we need to look on our food, because basically food is your health. It impact your health. And what's the point of having sick people, right? And you're knowing that you're contributing to that. So we need to take that responsibility, not only be profit-driven, but we need to have a corporate social responsibility in terms of what we're putting out there. Yeah.
And that's a large part of the national conversation now happening. The new tax coming out of the budget, the campaigns from the Heart Society. I know that, well, there are many companies in the CB group. I'm not sure if any of them fall within that realm of that sugar discussion, but certainly you have a mini supply chain of your own with the Pan Chicken Man and so on. What is your perspective about that private sector role?
So the private sector, as it relates to agriculture and making sure that there is food security, typically, let's start with agriculture. You'll need seeds, you'll need fertilizers. If you're going to grow chickens, you need baby chicks, which come from fertile eggs. All of this comes from an external source. None of these things, most of them are not produced in Jamaica. So what the private sector needs to do is to make sure that there are, as I said it before, very good supplier relationships that they establish, good contractual agreements to make sure that when they need the products, the inputs to production, they get it on time. If they are able to get those on time, and in the quantities that they need it, then the small farmers, the larger farmers, they will be supplied. To win in agriculture, however, what you need really is what I call a vertically integrated model. It means that you need to control some of your inputs, and some of your inputs goes into the process to give you an output. A lot of Jamaican farmers and the Jamaican industry, we do not do it like that. We become just the primary producer. And that is not sustainable for the agricultural model to be successful long term. We need to integrate it a little better and add value. That's where the money is.
Understood. I want to throw questions back at you in the audience. If you're watching us online on YouTube, you can type your answer into the chat. But how many of you think that we have good ideas, new ideas about technology as individuals, or new ways of doing things that can help us create solutions for the food security issues that we have? Raise your hand if you think that we are okay. We have enough ideas as Jamaicans, or we need more help? Are we able to use the technology that we have, or we need more guidance? And I'm going to throw the related question to our technology partner, which really is, as we look ahead, what solutions or approaches can, including those with technology, can help us now to strengthen our food security for the storms to come?
To answer that, to start to answer that, something simple, because we did some research in parts of St. Mary. Many of the farmers are not even using irrigation systems. They're using the rivers, buckets, containers. So when the river dry up, so something simple, a simple technology as even a drip irrigation, which its origins are coming from Israel, is something that we need to look into seriously in terms of increasing our productivity of the farmers. That's one. I think
so. We're looking at climate smart farming.
Yes.
So
yes.
I've had the privilege of going to Holland, and I went to look at their agriculture. And Holland is just about the size of a state in the United States. And yet Holland is the second largest exporter of agricultural produce. How do they do that? It is through innovative technology. So there are three things that will govern that you do well in agriculture. It is making sure that you have good nutrition. So your nutrition in the case of plants would be your fertilizers. Your nutrition in the case of animals would be the feed. Then it is the genetics. You have to have good genetics. You could get a tomato that give you 1 fruit, and you could also get a genetic that give you 5 fruits. And then the next one is management, which is climate control management. In the poultry industry, we are very advanced because we grow our birds under climate control conditions. It don't matter what the weather is outside. It don't matter whether or not there's a hurricane. We will continue to grow, and we are going to be getting a certain desired and expected production from it because we control the environment. For the youths that are sitting in the audience here, agriculture is no longer just the business that you ride a donkey. All these houses that I'm talking about, they are controlled by sophisticated computer controls. They are automated. This is where agriculture is. And I'd love for some of these young ones who are in the audience to understand that look at agriculture as a business, look at agriculture as an opportunity. There's a lot you could do in it.
And I'll add, because we supported the Karen Hall High School with agricultural projects, and they are now booming. But one of the issues that we as adults, we're not encouraging the young people to get into farming.
Enough.
We're enough, right? Because I heard of an example where there was a young lady at a high school, because she was bright. She wanted to do agriculture, but the teachers told her, don't do agriculture because you're bright. You can be a lawyer, you can be a doctor. We need to change that mindset and encourage our young people a lot more, as you said, Tony, to get into agriculture, because there are so many opportunities in agriculture that can make you better.
And we need those bright minds for the solutions to come up with the ideas, technology-based or otherwise, so that we can move forward. We have to wrap, but I want to ask a final question, and that is in the realm of wishes and dreams and hopes that have to start somewhere before we speak them into reality. If you could change one thing about how we as a nation handle food security right now, what would that be? I mean, there are many things we've discussed, areas, etc. But if you could pick one and direct some focus, whether it's manpower or financial, etc., what would that one thing be that you would choose?
I'll say to you that for me, I would be happy if my Jamaican people would change their mindset. And when I say change in mindset, we need to think about our local taste, our local produce, and I strongly believe in growing what I eat and eating what I grow. My colleague earlier on mentioned that she do backyard farming. As much as I am in the secular world, I guarantee you if you go to my backyard right now, I have tires in my backyard, I have tomatoes, I have sweet peppers, everything that I use, I grow it in my own backyard. So if I can do it, and I don't have a lot of space in my backyard, anybody can do it. And we have to start to learn how to consume local production. And once we start to do that, we are going to realize that our nation will be getting healthier and we will be living better lives.
Grow what we eat what we grow.
I think it's the same mindset because we import, I think, maybe 70% of what we eat. And if we were to reduce that, grow what we eat what we grow, then by extension, or foreign exchange, or foreign currency, or Jamaican dollar, it has ripple effects on that. So the less we can import is the better it is for us in Jamaica to be able to control our economy. So for me, if I had one thing to change, it would be for us to grow more and consume more locally.
And that has implications now for us and our GDP and everything coming out of Melissa.
My challenge would be to the youth. You know, in CSEC, you have math and English being compulsory. I have this little idea in my brain that each person who is going to be doing that exam must be given at least a half acre of land, and they must produce 3 to 4 crops as a part, the gentleman over there, of their curriculum. It must be, no, I shouldn't say it must be, we strongly recommend it, right? And their grades or maybe even their graduation is tied to the fact that they need to make sure that the land produce X amount of yield. I would love that for the youth, so that there is an appreciation for farming, for seeing what comes on your table from the farm to the plate, and that we may play our part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. Thank you.
Thank you. And so the final comment is going to come from you. Maybe not spoken out loud as audience members, but certainly to be thought of. How can I help to change this situation that we currently find ourselves in? Whether it's a lifestyle change, whether it's our approach to where we get our food from, whether it's an approach to how we work with others to restore that food security that we once had, we never worried about, but now exists because of climate change and all of those other things that are happening with our world. If we can just identify one thing today, then maybe that can spark the necessary groundswell. So we're wrapping it up. We're remembering today that food security is not just about what we eat. It's about how we prepare, how we think, how we live with each other. And resilience, therefore, starts with each and every one of us. Can you please help me with a round of applause to thank our panelists? We've got Kivette Silvera, Tracy Ann Hyman, and of course, Mr. Tony Blair. And we are thanking you too for your mind participation as we move through. I know as I throw back to Ruth Lynn and ZJ Sparks, they're going to want your open mouth and physical participation in all the games and giveaways that we have. And please make sure that you are checking out the different exhibits. To those of you online, thank you for tuning in. Stay with us, there's more to come. Panel discussion 2 is later on. ZJ Sparks.
All right, thank you so much, Paula and Porter Jones. Give them a big round of applause for me, please. Now let me see how well you were paying attention.